Well, a few months ago, Delta moved out of Macon, and Wings Air was one of the airlines that replaced Delta at Middle Georgia Regional Airport. In order to find out how the airline is run, ABC Macon's Eric Lee took a flight to Atlanta this morning to experience the ride.
When I arrived at the terminal, I went to the counter to check in and got my ticket. The Middle Georgia Regional Airport is not exactly crowded on a Monday morning, unlike the Atlanta airport. Once I checked in at the counter, I walked to the Transportation Security Administration's checkpoint. Agents asked me to remove my jacket, shoes, spare change, and any other items in my pockets. When I first walked through, the alarm sounded. I was still wearing my belt, so I removed it and tried again. This time, there was no alarm and I made it through. I've cleared security in Macon. It took about 20 seconds, whereas clearing security in Atlanta could have taken over an hour. Now I'm free to go on to my next destination. I boarded a twin-engine Piper Navajo Chieftain along with pilot Jarrett Goetzel and First Officer Wesley Schoaf. Taxiing was smooth. Takeoff was smooth. The flight was smooth. And landing was smooth. The flight to Hartsfield was about 25 minutes, and we were on the ground for about 15 minutes before we got off the plane and went into the terminal. About 15 minutes later, we reboarded the plane and headed back to Macon. Once again, the takeoff, flight, and landing were all smooth. Pilot Jarrett Goetzel has been flying for Wings Air for 3 months.
Both ways, a little over 2 hours going both ways. So for a one-way trip, it should be under less than an hour, which beats all the traffic going, from here up to there. To drive up there is probably 2-3 hours, and the hassle of dealing with security and all that stuff. I would just say this is a better deal in terms of time and ease of your travel.
First Officer Wesley Schoaf is just beginning his career after majoring in aviation management at Auburn University.
I'm here to back up and assist the captain. I run the checklists. I watch to make sure he's doing all the right things, he doesn't miss anything, and usually I talk on the radio and he flies. Every now and then he lets me fly.
I asked Schoaf if flights are always as smooth as today's flight.
That's not always the case, but sometimes it's smoother than others. Today was a particularly good day. It's nice and clear. It's going to be bumpy some days. It's just a fact of flying, but it doesn't make it any less safe. It's just like driving over a rough road.
Once we got back to Macon, I could actually think that I really enjoyed my trip. The crew was nice, the flight was smooth, and if I had been going to Las Vegas, Chicago, or New York, the T-gates would have been really handy. Eric Lee, ABC Macon News.